So one of my favorite Ultrabooks from last year was the Razer Blade 13. The specs on this really made it an interesting or capable gaming laptop in a 13-inch form factor. It had an NVIDIA MX 150 GPU that was able to push 1080p at medium settings at pretty good frame rates compared to the UHD graphics built in. And the Agent Whiskey Lake processor was pretty capable of doing a lot of the things as well. It's certainly not a performance beast compared to its 15-inch variant, which has an RTX GPU and a 6-core processor. But honestly, for the form factor, this thing, I mean, it was amazing. Well, today Razer is updating their Blade Stealth 13 lineup with some really promising specs. So let's take a look at that. But first, a quick message from our sponsor.
Let me ask you, what is more satisfying than a good peel? Ooh, that hits the spot, but you gotta love easy to sync ARGB components for a beautiful light show. Thermaltake's extensive support with 5-volt ARGB motherboard sync gives you lighting control of fans, memory lighting kits, all-in-one coolers, power supplies, and more by using the 5-volt header on your motherboard. You can also daisy chain a bunch of products to light from a single 5-volt header or with their own controller for individual customization. But now with ARGB sync, it's all made incredibly easy to match. Check it out below.
So there'll be 3 models of the new Razer Blade Stealth 13, and they're all going to be featuring Intel's latest 10th gen Core i7 processor, in this case the 1065G7. And for those of you wondering what that means, I've actually done an entire explain video going through Intel's Ice Lake lineup and that mess. So if you're interested in going through that, link will be right over here. But either way, the 1065G7 is the second fastest CPU within the Ice Lake lineup. It's right below the 1068G7, which is a 28-watt TDP processor, whereas in this case, you're getting a 25-watt TDP CPU, and it comes with the base clock of 1.3 gigahertz, boosts up to 3.9, 4 cores, 8 threads, and on paper, that's a lot slower than the 8565U Whiskey Lake processor found on previous gen Razer Blade Stealth notebooks. But Intel's really banking on Gen 11 graphics baked into these new 10th gen processors. They're supposed to compete against NVIDIA's MX 150 GPU. Unfortunately, I can't share any benchmarks with you guys right now because there's an embargo for these new CPUs, and the sample that I have over here is a pre-production model. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to wait for the full retail models to come out here in the studio, and then I'll do a full comparison between the 10th gen CPUs and of course the previous generation Stealth to see what the performance differences are. We'll definitely go over battery life and other things as well, so certainly stay tuned for that. Now, with the implementation of the new Gen 11 graphics from Intel, it'll be interesting to see how Adobe applications can take advantage of those execution units. Perhaps we could expect faster render times with QuickSync. We'll have to find out. But the main star of the show is the inclusion of NVIDIA's GTX 1650 on these new laptops. That's right, a GTX 1650 on a notebook that's this size. I mean, that is just incredible. Now, what are some of the sacrifices that Razer had to make in order to cram that GPU into this thin and light form factor? Well, it's only 0.5 millimeters thicker than the previous generation Razer Blade Stealth, so that's not really that much. Also, they've added 3 heat pipes or 3 additional heat pipes to the notebook for better heat dissipation, and that's pretty much it. It's refreshing to see Razer push boundaries by implementing a GPU of this caliber in a 13-inch form factor, and it's certainly a lot faster than the MX 150 since it offers more CUDA cores, higher clock speeds, so you should be able to game comfortably at 1080p with medium to high settings. Now, in terms of design, there isn't anything different compared to the previous generation, so you still get the boxy shape, same keyboard layout, as well as that glass trackpad, which is one of my favorites. Port selection also remains the same, so you get a Thunderbolt 3 port that shares 4 lanes of PCI Express, another regular 3.1 Gen 2 Type-C port, and 2 USB 3.1 Gen 2 ports. It also features the same battery capacity as well. The display is also the same, so you get a 13.3-inch 1080p IPS matte screen, but if you want, you can opt for a 4K touch option, but that's definitely going to cost you an arm and a leg. They've added a Mercury white variant this time, and that's what I have over here. It looks really cool, guys, and thankfully it won't show finger marks as bad as the black model. It also showcases the light reflections from the screen on the chassis, and man, it looks gorgeous, and it's photogenic as well. I still have mixed feelings about the plain white keycaps. They don't really go well with the silver finish on the notebook, and the lighting on the keys are a bit dim compared to the black variant. Again, this could be since I have a pre-production sample over here. I would actually leave the lighting disabled, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts about that. Unfortunately, if you're looking for a quartz pink limited edition, it's not here, at least for now, but we could expect that later on. And it starts at $1,500 US. It's certainly more expensive than the previous generation Stealth laptop. And here's a price breakdown between all three models. Now, do keep in mind that the base model only comes in Mercury White, and it does not have the GTX 1650 GPU, and it only has 256 gigabytes of NVMe SSD storage. If you need that 1650, you're gonna have to pony up an extra $300. And if you need a 4K screen, which honestly is pointless in a 13-inch form factor, it's $2,000, my friends. That Razer tax is pretty damn high. So that's pretty much it with the new Razer Blade Stealth 13. I can't wait to get my hands on a fully production sample, as well as a model that has a 1650, so I can benchmark it and give you guys all the info that you need, including battery performance, thermal performance. That's something that I really am curious to test out, especially since it is a solid combo, but I'm also curious to test out that Gen 11 GPU as well. So a lot of cool content coming your way. Definitely let me know your thoughts about the new Stealth 13. Are you guys excited about it? Of course, it is expensive, but I really want to know your thoughts about the new Stealth notebooks in the comments down below. I'm Ibor with Hardware Canucks. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check out some relevant content over here. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button when we pump out a new video. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one.